another modem to hit to get it on the computer. It's this thing called image capture, and it's 5 times quicker to upload the video to the computer. I haven't done it yet for going to YouTube, but I think this means I'll have the video uploaded tonight.
Nice.
Which could be a pretty large positive going forward.
I agree.
Why are the lights so bright?
What's up?
I don't know. Now it looks fine.
Oh. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know why. That was weird. The
That
screen
was
got
kinda weird.
really bright. I don't know. Whatever. Alright. You good to go?
Yeah, let me pull up the freaking ESPN nonsense.
That nonsense. So we'll talk about last week.
And then just talk about next week, and then just fucking...
What's the Thursday night game against? Falcons someone? Falcons Bucks, is that what it is?
Something like that. I don't know. I know Bayern Munich and Manchester City are tied at 0.
Yeah, I'm really pissed to not be watching that. And Chelsea's up 1-0. It's going to be a rough Champions League for me, because I'm a huge Man United fan, and they're not even in it, because they didn't qualify for it.
What?
They finished, I think, 7th in the English Premier League last year, and the top 4 qualified for Champions
I
League.
knew it was top 4. I just didn't realize that they finished so low.
It was the worst year in club history, basically.
I know they had the first... I know that they started off really poorly.
Horribly.
I remember that. I just don't... And then I just stopped following.
It never got better. Never got better. And the sad part is, for the people who finish 5th and 6th, they get to play in this thing called the Europa League, which is like the second tier of the Champions League. So it's everyone in Europe who didn't finish good enough for the Champions League. So there's still some good teams. Like there's a lot of Spanish teams that make. Right? They finished 7th. So they didn't even make the fucking Europa League. It's a slap in the face. It's been horrible. And right now I think Man U's in like 11th in the English Premier League. Yeah, it's gonna get worse. So.
That's weird. Anyway.
Whatever. It's European soccer. No one gives a shit.
Alright.
Except for Europe. They care.
I'm fucking tired.
I know.
I'm not even hungover. I'm just tired.
It was like the last time I had all the symptoms of a hangover, but without drinking. It's like...
I was going to say, I drank. I just...
Oh. Well, then there you go.
Pretty sure that I'm just tired, though. Yeah, fuck it. Whatever. What else even matter?
Is there no audio out there? There's nothing coming through over there.
I don't think so.
Well, fuck. That's not good.
Oh, well, whatever. Probably a good thing that I was by myself yesterday, because I would probably have to figure out what's wrong with Studio A. Anyway. Here we go.
Go for it.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to the basement. It is another Wednesday here in the basement. I am the Heckler. Joining me in the basement, as always, my partner in crime, Sean Steimel. What's going on, Sean?
Not much. It's good to be here. I think we're both not feeling well, which is going to make this podcast like 10 times better, because I feel like we're going to get really snippy real quick.
Yeah, you know.
But it's going to be fun.
You know, it's not like we're not snippy already.
Oh, no, that's what I'm saying. It'll almost be like the podcast on steroids.
Kind of like we're hangry, but we're not really hangry.
Exactly.
All right, fair enough.
Well put.
Anyway, this week, since Sean is a little under the weather and, he is on the 2-hour parking grid there, the oh-so-awesome UC Davis 2-hour parking grid.
Fix this shit, okay? Make a parking pass for people who just need to park for a couple of hours. Don't make it $9 a day for when you park. Don't put a 2-hour limit on the meters. Fuck you, Davis. You're the worst.
Anyway, so as I was saying,
yes.
since we are kind of strapped for time this week,
yes,
we're gonna stick to the NFL. We're gonna go over our picks from last week. Give you the picks for next week.
Oh, and I have them.
And
I have them.
Oh man, I thought I was golden when San Diego won, but and then the Niners did me wrong. But anyway.
Wait, did you pick the Chargers?
I did pick the Chargers, didn't I?
No, we both still picked the
Chargers.
Oh, you made the case that the Chargers would put up a really good fight.
I picked them on my YouTube video. I picked the Chargers. Damn
well, then, okay, I'm gonna change it on here. If you picked it once, then I You got that one right. I'll give you a check mark for that one.
Yeah, give me half credit. It'll be like real betting. I'll get a tie. I get a half.
You get
point.
a tie? Okay.
I get a tie.
Can I get a tie for the Giants game then? Because I said that the Cardinals were going to win, but I would not have been able to live with myself.
That's right. You could also get a tie for that. You
Good.
could also get a tie for that.
All right, so then
We're making up our own rules here as we go along.
No, those are real rules. Those are rules. If it stands like that, I topped you by 3 picks.
Okay.
Which isn't that good. We both had rough weeks.
I assumed we
both had
rough
rough weeks.
So let's see here. Steelers-Ravens. Did we both pick the Steelers?
We both hit the Steelers.
I figured we both.
And we both basically gave the Ravens no chance to win.
And what happened was Ravens dominated.
Dominated. And my main takeaway from that game is that neither one of those teams are very good.
Yes.
Neither one are very
The Ravens weren't as bad as we suspected.
No. But
and the Steelers weren't nearly as good as everyone hoped and thought they were going to be.
And the logic there doesn't mean, the Ravens are actually really good and the Steelers aren't.
No, they're just both mediocre.
They're both mediocre teams.
Which gives Cleveland a whole lot of life and a whole lot of chance.
It gives them a little bit more life, but I think it just leads to the Bengals being like, okay, we don't have to play that hard when we play them. So
yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I think it's the Bengals.
I feel like the Cleveland loss in Week 1 looks a little bit better to me now.
It looks a lot better. It looks a lot better. Yeah, and do you want to talk Cleveland right now?
No, hold on. But I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
It is Cincinnati's pretty much division to lose. It looks like that.
It's their division. And it's a shame.
It is, and because I
hate the Bengals.
I thought the Steelers got their act together.
I thought Week 1 showed us so much.
I thought the Bengals, even though they're good, they're still young, not mature enough.
Yep.
They're gonna, face a second half kind of like slump as they did last year.
We agreed on that.
I don't know anymore.
I don't think so. I honestly think it's the Look, we can sit here and talk about the Bengals all day.
Please let's not.
Andy Dalton, whatever. The truth is, they're a good football team that plays in a mediocre division.
We're going to see now what kind of leader Andy Dalton is, because A.J. Green, he's not hurt. He's not hurt enough to be out for the season, but he's that dangerous day to day now.
It's going to hinder him. But Mohamed Sanu looks like a real thing. So yeah.
Hey. Now, for you guys out there in fantasy, we did not just say pick up Sanu.
No.
We said he looks like the real thing.
Well, I mean, if he's a free agent in your league,
you might want a flyer. Take a flyer. But if you have,
don't start him over Des Bryant.
Yeah, don't drop Fred Jackson or C.J. Spiller because your running backs are full.
Both of them.
Yeah. You might want to drop Ben Tate though.
Yeah, looks like he's gonna be out for a while.
Anyway. We'll do that. By the way, next week we'll have a whole fantasy thing too.
Yeah, we'll do fantasy. AFC North. The Bengals, really.
Yeah.
I thought the Steelers, and I think we both thought the Ravens before the season.
Yeah.
With a healthy Ray Rice.
Yeah, and hopefully Joe Flacco can do this and that and the other.
And that's gone.
Week 1 he didn't do it. Week 2 he did.
No.
Go figure.
But what Thursday did tell me is Torrey Smith and Steve Smith, when they're both healthy, you can do offensive things there, but that defense isn't good enough anymore.
I mean, I feel like Steve Smith showed that yes, he's old, but he can still make plays in Week 1. In the loss to the Bengals,
if he's your second option, he's a really good second
option.
And
he's their second option.
And in Carolina, he was the number 1 and didn't have any help, and that's why they had.
And then when they got older, he was still the number 1 with no help.
Yeah, and they didn't get any help.
Anyway, the next 2 games last week, the Bills shellacked the Dolphins at home, and we both picked the Bills.
We both had the Bills.
And I feel like that was more a product of us not having faith in the Dolphins more than having that much faith in the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
But they
showed some things.
That game.
Yeah.
I'm not a believer yet, but I'm still on the bandwagon. I'm driving the bandwagon right now from Week 1. And I'm unlocking the doors because I feel like people are coming in now,
Well, I said this before the year. You looked at me like I was crazy when I tried to make the case for the Jets, and we'll get to the Jets. But I said if the Bills had Kiko Alonso, I would seriously consider them a playoff team. I think right now, even without Kiko Alonso, we have to seriously consider them as a playoff team. Because they're that good.
Because here's the thing.
They're that good.
As undynamic as that offense was last year, save the 2 guys in the backfield.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they're not one-dimensional anymore. Sammy Watkins can do what he did this last Sunday.
And they could have done what they're doing in the first 2 weeks last year they didn't really figure out how to use Robert Woods correctly.
Yeah.
Him and E.J. Manuel had a pretty good combination. Again, anyone who played fantasy had Robert Woods last year was very happy.
But now that
they have two now.
Now that he's a kind of a 1B or a 2.
I would say he's 2. Sammy Watkins is 1 now.
He's more comfortable in that spot.
That's a real thing. Scott Chandler,
now,
underrated tight end.
Now the safeties can't come down to that box for running and Scott Chandler because then you're single covering both receivers.
You'll get burnt.
Oh, man.
I like Buffalo. The defense, look, that's how good Kiko Alonso is. He changes things for me for Buffalo, but I like them. I like them now.
They're at home against San Diego next week. Now,
that's going to be a good game.
That's a winnable game.
A winnable game, yeah.
So we'll just say that before as a little teaser.
I also think that Bills game showed us a lot about the Dolphins. That week 1 victory.
They can't handle success.
That week 1 victory against the Pats came from just a really good pass rush, and Noshawn Moreno played out of his mind. Those are two things they absolutely need to have happen.
And I think the Bills, as a man, from 1 to 53, I think, right? Mm-hmm. They just wanted to beat the Patriots.
Yep.
Everyone in the AFC East wants to beat the Patriots.
They hate
but I feel like they took it as almost a personal goal in week 1 to show the nation that the Pats were beatable. And then they just couldn't do it. Yeah, and then they could do it. And then they saw the Bills and they went, it's the Bills, it's whatever. Buffalo. They got lucky against the Bears and. You can't. It's the NFL. You can't do that to anybody.
Nope.
And what happens when you do that, especially on the road? 29-10.
I'm not totally out on Miami, but I'm down on them. I don't think they're that.
They are trending down right now.
Yep. I
feel like the Dolphins, their bandwagon is going to be full or not full week to week.
Yep.
Depending on what they do week to week. Just like the Bills. And rightfully so.
And God knows there's no such thing as a Miami sports fan. So.
Oh, wow.
You Heat fans. Wow. Have fun with Danny Granger this year.
Wow. Hurricane fans, they're fans.
Most of them live outside of Florida. Most of them have moved away. Yes.
What about Seminole fans?
Didn't that just become a thing like last year? I didn't know they existed before Jameis Winston.
I feel like even if you would have agreed to both of those, it does show that you're right to most extent.
Most
because I did not bring up one sports team that came to mind that I was like, but what about the closest thing to a real team for the state of Florida would be the Dolphins when they're good.
When they're good,
they're good. Or when there's the potential of them being good.
Yep.
But they can't lose to the Bills like that, basically, is what it breaks down to.
I'm out on the Dolphins, just not completely.
And the Redskins and the Jags. Yeah. I believe we both picked the Redskins,
No,
right?
You went Jags.
Oh, did I go Jags?
You went Jags.
You know what I think that was? I thought Robert Griffin III was going to play the whole game, and I thought it would be a closer game because I know that they can't really utilize him.
Yes.
And you know how I know that?
How?
He got injured basically by them
non-contact.
By them utilizing him in a way where instead of run 3 yards, 5 yards and slide.
Yeah.
They were become Colin Kaepernick or Andrew Luck. Go ahead.
Show us your RG3.
Show us your RG3.
Yes.
And he dislocated his ankle.
It was disgusting too. I'm not a big fan of ankle.
The first report I got out was no structural damage. Now here's the thing, folks.
Yeah.
When you do something like dislocate your shoulder, you dislocate your ankle, you pop your knee out of place, hyperextend something, you strain your MCL, ACL, PCL, whatever it is. It's laughable when you bring a statement out that says there's no structural damage. Of course there isn't.
Of course.
It didn't break. But yes, there is.
Yes.
It dislocated, so the joint itself is structurally weaker now.
Yep.
And we're in week 3 now, and we're basically, if you're in D.C., you know what you're happy about right now?
John Wall.
Oh, well, I was going to not say football either. I was going to say that the Orioles and the Nationals basically clinch playoff berths.
That's true.
That's what you're happy about right now.
Yep.
And if you're a Redskins fan, that's sad. It's week 3. You've only done 2 weeks of it.
Yeah. And
you have Kirk Cousins, which isn't a bad thing, because literally when you texted me, hey, Cousins is in.
Yeah.
And you were like, and he's thrown one pass at the touchdown.
And his first pass was a gorgeous touchdown.
And then we cut to the highlight on my DirecTV, the Sunday package.
Because you were working.
Because I was working.
Yeah, you were working, yeah.
And they showed the highlight of that pass. Forget that he was wide open.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful pass.
It was a beautiful pass.
And he worked that counter fake, turn around, the backside, swing pass.
It was beautiful.
Perfectly.
Yeah.
And then I saw his final stats, and it was something ridiculous, like 14 of 17, 180 yards, 2 touchdowns, whatever, no picks. And if you're Robert Griffin III, you might have just saw your job being given down to Kirk Cousins.
All right, well, I said this last week. I even have it written down
I know.
here.
Remember you said if you
Kirk-
want someone to be Bob
Yeah.
Griffin, you
Kirk-
have someone who can do it better than Bob Griffin can right now.
I said Kirk Cousins will play a role. I didn't know it would happen this soon, but I knew he would play a role. And then I just wrote down this simple math, and dealing with inequalities and equalities and everything like that. RG3.
Calm down, guys. Calm down. Okay.
RG3 is greater than Kirk Cousins, but
so much as.
But Kirk Cousins is greater than a guy named Bob Griffin. Now, what the Redskins were trying to do in this new offense was turn RG3 into a guy named Bob Griffin. And OCU Manure, I love you for coming up with this in his rookie year. He said, we're not playing RG3, we're playing a guy named Bob Griffin. RG3 was amazing. And we got to see that for a year, his rookie year.
Kind of. We saw it at Baylor.
We saw it at Baylor, and then, remember that first week against the Saints, though?
Oh, yeah,
he had that, throw and he fell
You mean
down.
when Shanahan said, I'm going to open up the offense, you be a quarterback, like the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback you are, and then when the safeties and the linebackers start backing up, we'll unleash Alfred Morris in the second half and save your career. That week one?
That guy no longer exists.
Because Shanahan realized, I can utilize this?
Yeah. That RG3, we'll never see RG3 again.
Nope.
If the guy named Bob Griffin ever wants to play in the NFL again, which I think it's going to be rough because Kirk Cousins is good.
We might see RG3 again. It just won't be in the D.C. area.
No, you get what I'm saying. We're never going to see RG3 again.
Oh.
We'll see the man named Robert Griffin
I see
III,
what you're saying now. I see what you're saying now.
But we're never going to see RG3 again. We'll see Bob Griffin, and even then when RG3 is trying to play like that quarterback, he's not that good. And Kirk Cousins is better at being that quarterback than RG3 is.
And
so,
the style of offense that we saw the Redskins employ against, I know it was a Jags team, but it was a...
Even then.
But like
Kirk Cousins is good at running that offense.
If I was the NFC East, I wake up on Monday and go, damn it. Like, the Redskins are still not a threat, but they are more of a threat with Kirk Cousins leading a Bob Griffin-style offense than RG3 trying to be converted into Bob Griffin.
Yes, they are. It's Kirk Cousins' job.
I mean, they're still gonna be like 8-8.
No, they're not gonna be very good,
but they're not. They don't have the potential anymore to be the maybe 10-6. If they could.
RG3's ceiling is much higher than what Kirk Cousins is, but Bob Griffin's floor is much lower than what Kirk Cousins.
It's gonna be a terrible season, but consistent.
I hate math too. I'm done talking about
math.
Yeah,
and sorry, Jags fans, that little hope you had in the first 2.5 quarters of Week 1.
I said it. They're not going to have a good record. They're not going to win a lot of games, but they're going to play tough.
You made me a believer for 1 week.
They're going to be a tough team, but they're not going to win.
To say that though, I think this game would have been closer, and the Jags would have had an opportunity to win had RG3 not dislocated his ankle. I think because I think they would have still been puttering along the 7-0 nonsense.
I get it.
0-0, 3-0 kind of thing. Anyway,
you were wrong anyway. You got that right.
Moving on, Cowboys Titans. I was probably
you got
wrong.
this one. No, you got this right.
Okay.
You picked boys. I picked the Titans.
That's right.
Even though I'm a huge believer in the Cowboys.
That's right. I remember
Titans.
I said they're going to come out this week and be like, "What the hell happened last week?"
and prove it.
And to some extent,
they did.
They did.
But they did it in a different way than what you thought.
DeMarco Murray.
Remember, we were talking about it. They're going to make DeMarco Murray the focal point, and you were like, "Well, they'll try, but it's Jason Garrett."
And you know what?
They did it.
Thank you for proving me wrong, Jason Garrett.
No, and there's no proving wrong. I'm just saying that I think they've finally learned this is DeMarco Murray's offense.
That Romo has to only go... he can go 19 of 29 and you can still win?
Romo does not have to be spectacular for this team to win.
That's what I'm saying.
DeMarco Murray has to stay healthy for this team to win, but Romo does not have to take those chances he was taking in that Niner game for them to be good. They just need DeMarco Murray to play like DeMarco Murray. And if DeMarco Murray can run through the 49er defense, I think he'll have a pretty good year. And I picked the Titans. The Titans are the one team in the National Football League that after 2 weeks I have no idea about. Because I came in here last week thinking Week 1, I'm kind of high on the Titans. I like their defense. Jake Locker's going to be good. And right now, I have no idea what they are. Because that was a very weird loss to the Cowboys. I know Murray ran all over them. But they didn't do well on offense.
I had the Cowboy game on in the back of the area. And a bunch of Cowboy fans there. And
it was a weird game.
They were yelling and cheering. Yeah. But when I would go back there, I couldn't tell whether it was good or bad cheering at that point because they're up 3-0 and 10-0, and you're just like, well,
yeah, what's going on here? No, I like Cowboys to win the division. I think the Cowboys are going to be good, especially if they're using Murray like that. I've seen it year in, year out. DeMarco Murray kills the Giants every time they play together, and I think Murray's, without a doubt, top 5 running back in this league.
Speaking of the Giants, the next game, Cardinals and the Giants.
Yep.
The Giants literally were, I want to say, 8 minutes away from proving me geniuses, but
they gave it away.
But they gave it away.
Like the Giants.
And here's the thing.
Yeah.
Just like how I said on my YouTube and whatever, my friends after the Sunday night game, the one Gore run that was called back from holding where he just beasted it 51 yards, broke like 3 tackles, went to the line. He like outdistanced the running back, safety. He gave him a stiff arm, and I mean, he gives you that kind of run 4 or 5 times a season. And the key to that is don't waste a run like that by either holding or something being stupid. Because I mean, Anquan Bolden they need to hold. The fanboy in me says, "Wow, that was a very ticky-tack hold," but the NFL watcher in me goes, "I understand why they called it."
So you're talking Niners, or are we talking
Niners,
or are we talking Giants, Cardinals?
But the analogy of that,
okay.
When Eli Manning gives you 277 yards and is 26 to 39 and gives you 2 touchdowns,
it doesn't turn the ball over.
And does, I'm glad you said that because I was like, oh please,
I could write the book on Eli.
But when he gives you a game like that,
don't waste it.
You can't waste that game because he only gives you 4 or 5 or 6 games like that during the regular season. I mean, he can go on a run in the playoffs doing that.
Playoff-wise, he can do it.
But in the regular season, he gives you a performance like that, if not better, about 4 to 6 times a year.
And
you can't waste it.
They
wasted it in the most surprising manner possible to me. No, to me.
To a non-Giants fan, surprising. To a Giants fan, it was
karma. It was almost as if in that fourth quarter and half of the third, the only person that realized that they needed to keep playing was Eli Manning.
Mm-hmm. They fumbled, and then they got it back. They punted, and then Ted Ginn Jr. returned it for a punt. And on the ensuing kickoff, the Giants fumbled and gave it right back.
Yeah.
They didn't want to win. And believe me, thank God.
And you really want the first pick.
That number 1 pick's going to be very sweet for the New York Giants. I'm okay with them losing this year.
All right.
I've given up. They're a bad football team.
So now I get to the Cardinals here. As an NFC West fan,
the
Cardinals...
Without Carson Palmer.
Here it is. Here's what they taught me last week.
What did they teach you?
They taught me that as long as their running game is humming and their defense can be pinned back, especially the front 4, and just not have to worry about what's behind them, and the quarterback does not turn the ball over more than, say, 1 time, they're going to win the game even if they're down. Like they're built to be down 14 early and come back to win by 1 or 7. And that's kind of weird because I don't think, I mean, I feel like Cardinal fans are probably like on edge every week, and they should be.
They are.
They should be.
They are.
But as a Niner fan, to me it feels like they pose more of a problem than the Seahawks.
Stop it.
They're not on the radar.
Stop.
They're not on the radar.
Stop it.
If you're not going to see the punch this swing. I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Like you're just be walking down the street and from a dark alley you get punched by the Cardinals. I mean the Niners see the Seahawks coming and vice versa. But those teams in the dark alley, the Rams and the Cardinals, you know, the Rams are doing it themselves.
Well, the Rams are in a completely different dark alley.
They're getting mugged right now.
Yeah.
And the Cardinals doing the mugging. You know what I'm saying?
The Cardinals pose a threat, but, I mean, this is the Seahawks division, and the Niners are the only contenders of that division. I know the Cardinals are 2-0. That Chargers win doesn't look that great because the Chargers proved that they didn't play very well week 1. And this Giants victory is not that great either.
Because they should have lost.
They should have lost. And, I mean, the backup quarterback played well, Drew Stanton. Who I believe it's the same Drew Stanton that the Yankees drafted in, like, 2003 as a third baseman.
So here's the thing. Let me ask you a question on this. Let's go with college real quick. If you're at Michigan State, right, if you're a Spartan alum or even, like, the coach, you know what you start telling NFL pro scouts?
Take our quarterbacks.
Hey, by the way, we may not have a first-rounder here, but they can manage your team.
We produce professional quarterbacks. I hear you. No, anyway. I think the Cardinals they're gonna have a good year. It'll end up something like last year. They'll have enough wins to make the playoffs.
In my predictions, I have them 9-7, maybe even 8-8. You know, having a solid year, but
I think 9-7's the floor.
Yeah.
I think they reach. I think they're going to 9-7, and I don't think that's enough to make the playoffs. But
not in the NFC.
It could be.
Not in the NFC. No.
Could
I think 10's the number in the NFC. It has to be 11 maybe, but I think 10's the lowest number that is going to get in.
I know right now they're atop the division, but it's Seattle and San Francisco.
Do we even need to talk about Patriots and Vikings?
Yes, the Vikings proved to us that that's the real Vikings, not Week 1 Vikings.
Okay.
They're going to have issues,
and
the Patriots proved that they're more like the Week 2 performance than the Week 1 performance.
Did they?
You know why?
Why?
Stephen Ridley.
Oh, okay. Oh, fair enough.
They used a running game.
Thank you. Okay, I was going to say other than the fact that they surprised me by using a running game.
It was the running game.
It didn't really show me anything else. Really.
And it was a running game that wasn't Shane Vereen. It was Stephen Ridley, who is 10 times more explosive than Vereen, but Vereen's more reliable holding the football.
The reason that Ridley got 100 yards, 100 plus yards and a touchdown,
and 25 carries too,
because he was dependable that week.
He was dependable. And if Ridley's dependable, the Patriots are the Patriots, and it's their division.
Yeah,
and they're good.
Okay, I'll say that. I'll agree with you. Yeah. If Ridley, from week to week to week, every week, week in and week out, can be 100 to 125 yards, 25, 30 carries, one touchdown at least, then you know what? Tom Brady's an all-pro again.
Yep.
He's he's an all-pro again. I almost went really crazy, but even I couldn't do that. Anyway.
Yeah, that's it on them.
Here's the most confusing game that I had this week for me. Just knowing what team is what. The Saints and the Browns.
I don't think it was confusing.
I mean, sure, it was status quo in that you take the Saints out to a real weather area. They perform like this. They let the teams hang around, and the Browns can, if they hang around, they know that they can win.
Yeah,
and that's what they usually do, kind of.
I think the Browns put everything they had into that game, and I don't think the Saints were playing that hard. Drew Brees and Jimmy Graham didn't really link up until the second half. They need that to happen throughout the entire game. I think this. I said this after the Week 1, the Saints-Falcons game. We both walked in here like, wow, what a hell of a game.
Yeah.
And I said, both of those defenses are bad.
That's true.
And you said, well, it looks a little bit more like the offense is really good. Yeah, their offenses are pretty good. But the Saints' defense is bad. It's bad again. And I know Rob Ryan's still the defensive coordinator.
It's so weird that
but it's a
bad
defense.
You know what I think I'm starting to steer the Saints too is it's not the defensive coordinator.
No.
It's the players.
Personnel.
And
personnel. Because Rob Ryan's a good coach.
By the way, I can't believe I'm going to say this either. Drew Brees is still a top 3 quarterback, of course.
I don't like where this is going.
Top 3, top 4 quarterback, of course.
I don't like where this is going at all.
I can see him.
Oof. I don't like where this is going.
Degrading in front of my own eyes. Not that a 95% of what Drew Brees used to be isn't better than everyone else out there, not named Peyton Manning and Tom Brady and whatnot. But I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that anyone's caught up to him, nor am I really saying that he's dropping to a level where he's on a different tier between those guys and somewhere else. But it does seem like as he's getting older, his feet are a little happier.
Yes, I will agree with that.
And that's really all I'm saying.
You know what that game showed me? It wasn't that Drew Brees is degrading. It wasn't that the offense...
a little bit.
You know what it showed me? They missed Darren Sproles.
Yes.
He's a huge fucking part of that offense.
And I bet you they watched Monday Night Football and goes, he was doing that for us last year. Oh my God.
Forget that. You better believe Drew Brees was watching Monday Night Football. Like, why the fuck did we leave it? Why is he not on the team? That's what Drew Brees was saying. They missed Darren Sproles.
Well,
that's a big deal.
Only if he wasn't going like this.
Yeah.
Oh, my sternum. It hurts so bad.
I have serious concerns for the Saints defense, and I think that division's too good for them to win without having a defense.
I have half of my foot off of that bandwagon thinking that they won't even win 10 games at this point.
Oh, yeah.
And that's kind of trippy to think.
Yep.
But I also said something preview for this division.
Mm-hmm.
They are known historically for a last place team next year finishing first, a first place team missing the playoffs. Yeah. So maybe it's just the voodoo that they do. Who knows?
Ooh, New Orleans voodoo.
Oh wow, I didn't even think about that.
Hey, good call.
Hey,
good call.
Hey, look at that.
All right.
Falcons Bengals. I was totally wrong. I was on the bandwagon with both feet. I pretty much jumped off that bandwagon in the first quarter.
You picked the Bengals, though.
Oh.
But we both were talking about how Matt Ryan was going to be the Matt Ryan that we saw.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We were both wrong about that. You took the Bengals. I took the Falcons.
But
the Falcons' defense is terrible.
Exactly, and you were right about that. Once again, right after the Saints. But here's
so bad.
You know what I also learned?
Right.
the Bengals defense is a lot better than I thought. I thought the week one where the Falcons sort of came back, or not Falcons, the Ravens sort of came back and came up short. I was like, they're still kind of young.
That was a strange game, week one.
But the Falcons are kind of a similar team,
better.
Yeah. A better version of the Ravens.
Yeah.
And the Bengals showed up and said, not this week.
Yeah.
Not this week,
Bengals are good. Falcons' defense is terrible. I have serious concerns for the Falcons and Saints even sniffing the division title with how good Carolina's defense is. So, I think one of them could make the playoffs. Both of them are.
Be healthy, though.
Yeah, I know. Both of the Falcons and Saints aren't making the playoffs. We know that.
And speaking of Cam Newton being healthy, when he is healthy,
good luck.
The Panthers win 24-7 against an offensive team like the Lions. At home, and
luck.
You know what? I want to see what this game would have looked like in the Silverdome. Probably the Panthers still win, but I want to know
it would
now.
Have been different indoors.
Yeah, I want to know what the Panthers defense can do in the Superdome, in the Georgia Dome. Just in those on the road games, because if they can put a drubbing like that on the road,
on that fucking offense,
then I'm on board 100%.
Yeah,
but. I
took Lions, I took Panthers.
I think more so than anything, what it taught us was, once again, like the Dolphins, the Lions can't really handle having success of any kind.
I think it taught us more that Carolina's defense is
I knew how good they were. I just didn't know how they would react.
That reaffirmed it for me. I mean, Calvin Johnson and Matt Stafford, that's a legendary combination. I mean, that's going to go down in the history books.
They kept Calvin out of the end zone under 100 yards. So
Carolina's defense is amazing, and their offense is good. They didn't even have what's his face, D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart stepped in, and they were fine.
And that's really like Jonathan Stewart saying, "Hey, Carolina, don't forget that I'm still on this roster, in case you need me."
Yeah. And I think that's Carolina's division hands down.
Now, the most disappointed I am of any team, not the Niners, is this game, the Rams and the Bucks. I'm so disappointed in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Me too.
I mean, I get it, week one.
Yeah.
Okay, I get that. You played a difficult game. It's whatever.
Yeah.
But you can't be at home with the Rams coming in with their backup quarterback, third string quarterback, and blow the game. And here's the thing.
They gave it away.
They had a chance at the end, and unfortunately for them, one of the most bizarre endings I've ever seen.
The 10-second runoff.
The 10-second runoff because of injury to Evans. Well, not really an injury, but just an on-field injury.
He got hurt.
Yeah, he got
tried to get up. He realized everyone was like, "No, get up." He's like, "No."
And then once the trainer had to come and help him off the field, that's an injury timeout.
They didn't have any timeouts.
And 10-second runoff with only 8 seconds left.
It was a shitty way to lose. You can't.
But they deserved
you can't put yourself in that situation.
They deserved to lose that way, the way they played.
The Rams are bad, and they're 1-1. That's a problem.
The Rams kicked 4 field goals in the most boring game you could think of.
It was a bad game.
And
it was one of the late games, too, so you were, forced to watch it.
Yeah.
The NFL decided to just put every fucking game in the morning and then the rest of them in the 4 of them in the afternoon.
Now, you know what? We get to the next game, and I'm gonna start it with, this week I am not saying anything about how the Seahawks... How much of a believer I am, because they basically lost on the road. And I can't even enjoy that as I say this, because of what we're going to talk about later on in this segment. But
didn't help much.
Here's the thing. You know what I learned? I learned 2 things. Chargers are a dangerous team. They're definitely in the 9-10 win category. The Broncos need to worry. I didn't say they need to be afraid. They need to worry.
Keep going.
I also learned that, indeed... it is the West. It does belong to Seattle, and it's theirs to lose.
Yeah.
Because even in a loss, they gave themselves a ample opportunity all the way in the fourth quarter to come back and tie, to come back and win. Just untimely turnovers here and there. San Diego's defense is kind of playing out of their mind at that point. Phillip Rivers was just blowing the covers off of the Seattle secondary. Antonio Gates turned back the hands of time. Yeah. But in reality, it didn't surprise me, because San Diego was built like a team that gives Seattle fits. Hard running game up the middle.
I agree.
A big tight end that can catch and get the linebackers out of the middle of the field.
Yeah.
And then a fast receivers on either side. on the other side of Sherman, and they've attacked Sherman, plenty of times that I would be like, 3 catches, 4 catches, 35, 40 yards. They didn't shy away. The Vegas over-under for, how many times they throw it, Sherman was 3. Mm-hmm. They did attack him more than 3 times.
They did.
And Sherman did not have a post-game interview afterwards, but decided to go with Twitter afterwards to be like, no one was exposed, this, that, and the other. Now, as it pains me, like I said, Niner fans out there that know me, and the extreme hatred I have for the Seattle Seahawks.
Extreme.
The Niners aren't as mature as the Seahawks in all aspects of the game, and in the running game they're tied because they have 2 old backs that know how to handle the rock and are calm. So, by the slightest of margins, being the maturity and the depth of talent across the board, it is the Seahawks division to lose. But I'm not coming in here to say, you know what, everyone, we're all playing for second place, Super Bowl goes through the Pacific Northwest, no problem. I'm not there yet. I am taking steps forward maybe to that, as you can see, as last week did definitely teach me that maturity-wise and just the level of readiness, it's still Seahawks here and Niners are here and everyone else is, here to catching up to the Niners. The gap between everyone else and the Niners is closer than the Niners and the Seahawks right now.
Okay. What it taught me, I'll get to Seahawks Niners in just a second, about the Chargers. It took a borderline elite quarterback, which I think he's on the border. I think he's very close to being elite, and a future first ballot Hall of Famer to connect for 3 spectacular touchdowns.
That last one was amazing.
Spectacular touchdowns to, I want to say, squeak by the defending Super Bowl champions. It's not time to panic if you're a Seahawks fan at all. This was a really good performance by 2 really good guys.
I mean, historically, like last 2 years in their run, or last 3 years, I'd say, they don't go after good starts on the road in the first half. And once again, evident 20 to 14. Yeah. That score was probably a larger margin in my eyes than the actual score indicated, because that last touchdown at the end of the half, you're like, oh, whoa, they got really lucky there. But yeah.
I don't want to say the gap between the Seahawks and the Niners is that big. I'll say this.
Big, but
the Niners have a lot more to worry about.
Yeah, I agree.
They have a lot more.
I totally agree. The
Seahawks are intact right now. They're generally healthy. Mm-hmm. I think they'll get better. Like I said, Russell Wilson's getting better. You could even see it in that game, even though he lost. He played really well.
Yep.
When they get Lynch and Harvin going, that's a really tough offense.
And that's the key last week.
Yeah.
Was a San Diego D said this: Marshawn Lynch, you will not beat us.
Yeah.
You know what? We'll live with getting beat by Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
And for 1 week,
it
didn't work.
But that's because the Chargers played really well.
Yeah.
I'm not taking anything away from that Chargers performance. It was a really good performance, but we'll get to the Broncos
basically,
later.
if you're Seattle, you can't have Percy Harvin be your leading rusher to win a majority of your games in the regular season. Maybe in the playoffs, but not in the regular season.
And if you're the Vikings, you can't have Cordero Patterson be your leading rusher without a running back. But the difference between the Niners and the Seahawks, let's jump to Niners, because you already started it. The performance on, was it Sunday Night Football? It was Sunday Night Football. I called the Bears. We'll get to that in a second. But the Niners defense is no longer the Niners defense.
There's no pass rush.
It's a different crew.
Yeah, there's no pass rush.
Justin Smith is still there. He's getting up there in age. He proved the past 2 weeks. That doesn't matter. He can still get to the quarterback. Patrick Willis still, I think it's between him and Luke Kuechly for best linebacker in the league. Ahmad Brooks still makes plays. The secondary.
But see, here's the thing.
Chris Culliver's their best cornerback.
I'm gonna
let me get to this though. There are big holes in that defense. Whether it be Alden Smith sitting in prison, whether it be Navarro Bowman coming back from injury, whether it be letting Deshaun Goldson walk in free agency last year,
stupid.
This defense has major issues that they need to address.
True.
Yes.
But despite all of that, what really killed them on Sunday Night Football was not even just the offense, was Greg Roman sitting up in that little box up there watching the game as the offensive coordinator. And saying, hey, we have a 20-7 lead. You know what we should do from here on out? We should pass the ball
let that back in
10, 15 more times and let our young quarterback, who isn't mature enough yet to handle that kind of pressure into holding on to a game.
Yeah.
And let's just do that. Let's forget that we have like you were saying about San Diego, a future first ballot Hall of Famer sitting in our backfield who's averaging 4.8 yards a carry this game.
Yep, who's killing it.
Let's only give it to him 13 times for the game, not in the half.
I agree.
The game. And you know what? You know who we can't rely on either? That solid running back that's behind him, that rookie from Ohio State. Yeah. He's pretty good.
He's not Frank
Gore. Let's not do that.
No. I hear it was a lot of the offense's fault. But that defense is the main worry.
If the offense is doing that, the defense has to step up and say, don't worry, we got your back.
Greg Roman just basically has to fix the game plan. That Vic Fangio and Harbaugh, they got a lot of work to do with that.
The thing is, once you're up 20-7, right?
Yeah.
You can change your defensive game plan to cover those holes a little bit and let the running, because they were dominating Matt Forte for a while in the running game, and they were basically they were saying, "We got this lead. We're going to tee off on you. Go ahead and risk the passes here and there." Yep. But the Bears and Jay Cutler, the main difference between them and the Cowboys is, once that offense gets rolling, they don't need Matt Forte. If they got Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffries lighting it up on the outside like that and getting single coverage to Martellus Bennett, you can afford to have Forte have a mediocre game if the offense is just handing you the ball over and over again and saying, go ahead and just pass it. And a short field. And that too. Those two of the three touchdowns that they had in that fourth quarter, they gave them short fields, 20 or less. And, you can have great defense, but you're still going to have points. And if you're a Niner defense with no pass rush, you're going to have touchdowns.
Yeah. I think the similarities between the Bears and the Cowboys are clear and evident. They are very similar teams. And I think Cutler and Romo are very similar quarterbacks. We had this debate last week of the difference between Cutler and Romo. You live with bad Romo to get the great Romo. You live with bad Cutler to get what you got last Sunday. The great Cutler. And I made the case for the Bears, and they eventually won. And I think anyone who heard me say what I said about the Niners, that their defense has major holes, they're going to say, well, I mean, we were winning by that much. We only gave up a touchdown and all that.
The defense.
This is why that happened. Alshon Jeffrey and Brandon Marshall were hurt.
Yes.
And it was quite clear they were hurt.
They were not 100%.
They were not going to blow by the defensive backs like Alshon Jeffrey normally does. The defense was playing differently. They didn't have to worry about deep threats. They were playing 11 men, 15 yards and in.
Basically in the box.
Tough for that offense to do anything. They got away from that a little bit. And then Chicago changed their game plan. They tweaked it a little bit. All right, then try and guard Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffrey in turnaround curl routes and post routes. They changed their offensive game plan. And when they did that, the Niners had no answer. And
they should have had an answer. You know what the answer should have been? Here, Frank Gore, let's run the ball and kill the clock.
The clock is our friend. The main takeaway I took away from that game, it's not that the Niners defense needs help. It's not that Cutler can still have performances like that. It's not even the coaching from either side. It's that we talked about game changers last week. When Jay Cutler and Brandon Marshall are on the same wavelength, that's a game changer. And we talked about it. There are very few legitimate, definitive, when this thing is going right, it's almost impossible to beat. Jay Cutler to Brandon Marshall is a real thing.
Which is why, Roman, use your game changer.
Yeah. Because the Niners have quite a few, actually. But when Jay Cutler and Brandon Marshall are going together, they can produce beautiful, beautiful, statistical, just pure bliss on a football field. They are both so good. That one-handed grab where Brandon Marshall just turned around and went like this and caught it like that.
That first touchdown, right? That was amazing.
And that was just another day at the office for Brandon Marshall and Jay Cutler. The Niners have a lot of things to worry about.
Kaepernick can't be leading the team in rushing at the end of the game with 66.
The offense is a whole different thing. I think they'll get that figured out. They were not healthy all of last year. They had different parts moving in. Right now they're healthy, and they're going to have to figure out how to use all their parts. But it's the defense that they seriously have to worry about. They can't count on Alden Smith. They can't count on Navarro Bowman. Justin Smith, you can count on him for a while, but that's going to go away soon. Patrick Willis needs help. That Niners defense needs help.
I know.
And the Bears are good.
And remember
week one was rough.
I remember what I said. I don't know if it was last week or week one.
Yeah.
I know that defense isn't as good as it was, and I even said this year is going to be all about can the offense get a lead and protect it.
They did and they didn't.
And last Sunday night was an example of yes and no.
It answered your question.
Kind of.
Yeah. I'm much higher on the Bears than I thought I would be.
Me too,
I
and
like them.
I'm very hot in the Niners, of course.
Oh, of course.
But the
Niners defense, even with those holes,
the
their
fanboy
team's still so
psyche,
good.
the fanboy, Dodger fan in me, that is also the Niner, oh God, oh God, oh God.
It's not dinging yet.
It's not dinging yet,
No.
and I feel like even though I may bitch and moan for the year, I don't think it's going to come out until playoffs.
I hear you.
The other 3 games that we can talk about.
The only one we need to mention is Texans. The Raiders, we learned the Raiders are not very good, but we also learned the Texans offense. I don't even care if Ryan Fitzpatrick is back there.
No,
They know how to run the offense. They got back
he
to...
carried the ball 28 times.
Yeah, and killed them.
And every time he touched the ball, you look at the screen, and there's like a Raider... The initial contact point of every one of these 28 touches. The first guy to get there just looked like he was bouncing off his knees. Like, didn't matter who it was.
Showing you that Arian Foster is Arian Foster.
When he's healthy.
And Andre Johnson is still Andre Johnson.
When
those two things are true, the Houston Texans are the best team in the AFC South.
Yes. Yes, they are.
And right now they're screwed up.
And all Ryan Fitzpatrick has to do is literally this.
Just stay out of his own way.
14 of 19,
That's it.
139 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Bill
you know
O'Brien
why?
is saying thank you.
Because 28 carries for 138 yards and a touchdown for Arian Foster, that's just whatever, any day of the week.
Texans are really good. The
Colts should be afraid.
Colts should be very afraid, but I don't get what you were saying that the Broncos should be worried about the Chargers. I don't get that at all. Wes Welker's coming back.
They went 1-1 last year against the Chargers.
Yes.
Against a Chargers team, in my opinion, that wasn't as good as this year.
But the Chargers, you even said this yourself. The Chargers get up.
I know.
To play those games.
I know.
They do not get up to play other games. But they should have fucking beaten the Cardinals.
They should have. They could have, and they didn't.
You know what the Broncos do to those shitty teams? They put up legendary, historic numbers on those teams.
I understand that, but
Broncos should not have to
You know what they
worry.
also do?
What?
They also only beat the Chiefs by 7 points at home.
But the Chiefs got up for that game.
But even
Niall Davis played out of his fucking mind.
Okay, that's true. I mean, 2 touchdowns out of his mind, not the yardage.
You're going to have to use a lot more to convince me that the Broncos should be worried about the Chargers.
I didn't say afraid. I said worried.
And I know the difference between those two.
And that literally means...
They shouldn't even be worried.
That literally means, okay, we know you're coming. We now have to pay attention to you.
And they don't.
They kind of do.
No.
They kind of do.
Not with Wes Welker coming back. That offense will be back.
The Broncos have a way harder schedule this year.
You know what I'll say, too? Emmanuel Sanders, Eric Decker.
Okay, fair enough. That's fair enough. Because
they might be better.
Because on my fantasy team, I have Emmanuel Sanders and Demaryius Thomas.
Yeah. With
Peyton Manning as my quarterback. That's just like...
That's good.
It's like guaranteed 60 points every week.
I think Sanders is better for that offense than Decker.
You think?
And if Wes Welker's there, that.
Hey, and you know who's going, God damn it, why is he on my team? Big Ben.
Yes, he is.
Because Antonio Brown's a beast, but I mean...
Can I just mention that the Jets' defense is actually really good?
I was going to say, the next one is Jets and Packers.
It took Aaron Rodgers and Jordy Nelson, who, if I'm going to claim that Jay Cutler to Brandon Marshall is a real thing, then Aaron Rodgers and Jordy Nelson is even more of a real thing than that conversation is. And it took that to beat the Jets by a touchdown. That we're not going to get into that controversy because it's bullshit. Oh. But the Jets are a good football team. But that defense is really good. Geno Smith is going to stay out of his own way.
Hold on. I need to say this though.
What? The controversy?
No. Okay.
I
don't care.
Good.
In the last 2 weeks, right? I don't even know what you're talking about. What controversy?
The offense coordinator calling timeout.
Oh.
Yeah. It's bullshit. Jets fans.
Anyway,
last 2 weeks.
I couldn't believe that by the way. But the last 2 weeks, I don't know what the Jets are. They're a good defense, right? But
That's what they are.
But other than that, I don't know what they are. Are they a running team? Are they a passing team? Are they actually a playoff team? Are they a 4-12 team? What is it?
They're just a good defense.
Because to me right now, they're the outline of their persona to me looks like 4-12, maybe 5-11.
No.
They couldn't hold the lead, and they almost lost the Raiders.
Yeah, but they beat the Raiders.
Yes, but that argument's not going to work once they're 1-6 maybe after losing leads.
Who says they're going 1-6?
I'm saying potentially.
I like the Jets.
They should have beat the Packers. They should be 2-0.
We still don't know enough about the Jets to claim anything yet, but they're a good defense.
Okay, they're good.
And the Packers offense with Rodgers and Jordy Nelson is a sight to see. I want that to happen every week. They are so fun to watch. Rodgers will throw the ball like at the ground, knowing that Jordy Nelson is just going to dive in his hand.
And you're like,
that's amazing.
Oh, he's throwing it. Oh, no, he's not. That's
Jordy.
A touchdown to Jordy Nelson for 20 yards on the side. You know.
And they used Randall Cobb, which they didn't do week 1, which I mentioned that not to be worried. Jarrett Boykin got in the action a little bit. Still got to figure out the tight end. Eddie Lacy looked kind of healthy, but Packers don't have to worry.
Hold on. The Jets have Chicago next week.
I know.
Then they have Detroit, another high-power offense.
I know.
They go to San Diego.
And then they get the Broncos.
That smells like 1-5.
I also think it smells like that defense can prove some things.
And then week 7, they go on the road to New England.
All right.
Possibly a legitimate Buffalo team.
I think the Jets' defense is good.
I don't know.
That's all I'm saying.
At no point in this
That's
I
all I'm
disagree
saying.
with you on your defensive stand.
I said we don't know enough about what the Jets are,
I don't know.
but they are a good defense.
I think it's trending towards a bad season for them. Anyway, the last game of the docket, we already glossed over a little bit. Chiefs and Broncos.
Chiefs suck, and the Broncos are really good. Done.
And they only won by 7.
Yeah, done. Because the Chiefs put everything they had in that game.
Okay. So just a blip?
Just a blip. Broncos are fine. They're so good. So good.
We already talked in length about Bears-Niners.
Yeah. Eagles-Colts.
No, the Monday night game, that was an entertaining game. In so much as the Eagles didn't just fade away, they actually came back to make it a game.
Because the Colts let them.
Yeah. In so much as why was Andrew Luck passing so much, I don't know. And I almost feel like if you're a Colts fan, you can't be mad in the same way that the Niners fans are mad and that they didn't run, because they did run. And Trent Richardson and Ahmad Bradshaw were actually giving them a tandem that looked like, wow, this is, instead of thunder and lightning, I was just calling it thunder and bigger thunder, basically. But basically this is what I took away from that game. Forget the score, forget that the Colts are 0-2, which is scary for them.
Tell me, what'd you take away?
Trent Richardson,
yeah,
if used right, i.e. that game, can be the guy that he was at Alabama.
Can still be Trent Richardson, yeah.
And if you do that, Ahmad Bradshaw can be more effective.
You don't have to sell me on Ahmad Bradshaw. I know everything about him. I'm
a
huge fan of his. If you're a Colts fan, you have to be worried that they were using Bradshaw so much, though.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think it goes into your point that they can be upset that they weren't running more with Richardson.
And I would be more upset that they ignored Reggie Wayne for a whole game.
That's what I'm saying. When you have Wayne and Hakeem Nicks and T.Y. Hilton as your slot guy, and you're going to throw that much with Andrew Luck, you should be seeing better results.
Yeah, it shouldn't be 20 for 34 for 172 yards.
Yeah.
It should be 20 for 34 for 272 yards.
We were right about that, too. We both took the Colts, but we said Foles would have more passing yards, because that's just how the Eagles are going to play.
Well, the Eagles won.
I know, but what I'm saying, we both had the Colts, but we were right about the passing yards.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
The one thing I learned about the Philadelphia Eagles, their defense sucks.
And they're definitely a second-half team, but they can't survive that way.
It's not going to last. And they'll probably make the playoffs because the NFC East is so rough, and the Cowboys are going to have to, play like Cowboys every week. And the Eagles,
they're being the Redskins.
The Eagles can clearly, not play well and still eke out these wins. Playoff time, that's not going to work.
Nope.
If I learned one thing, and this will wrap up our week 2, or week 1, we'll talk about week 2. If I learned one thing from these 2 weeks in the National
week
Football
1,
League,
week 2 in the NFL.
If I learned one thing, if you do not have a good defense, you're not going to do anything in the playoffs. You need a good defense to even consider yourself a contender to do anything in the playoffs. If you don't have a good defense, you're not going to win. You're not going to be in the playoffs.
Sorry, Saints.
Yeah. Sorry, Falcons. It's Eagles. If you don't have a good defense,
and
you're not going to win the playoffs.
I'm going to say this message just to the Bucks.
They have a good defense.
You have a good defense. Stop fucking up.
Exactly.
This is your opportunity to win the division this year.
Absolutely. If they would have beat the Rams, I would be so high on the Bucks.
And you know what they wasted?
What?
They wasted an effort by Bobby Rainey that once again, like he's not a great player, but Bobby Rainey showed last year he can give you those kind of games. You just can't wait. Once again, you can't waste it.
He's good on your fantasy team. All right.
So week 3 in the NFL, week 2 for us here. We're gonna start with the Thursday night game. You know what? It's almost apropos that this is the way we start.
Leads right into it.
The Bucks go into the Georgia Dome, which is a different scenario than what I would like to see the Bucks happening here. But Bucks go into Georgia Dome. Bucks are 0-2. Falcons 1-1. Atlanta favored by 6.5 points.
Who are you taking?
You know what? I picked the Falcons because they're at home. Had this been a road game for the Falcons in Tampa Bay, I think I would have picked Tampa Bay, but I don't think Tampa Bay is mature enough to go on the road and say beat the Falcons.
I agree. Falcons at home are it's a different animal.
Yeah.
And I
Fast track.
I think the Bucks D's really good.
It is. It's gonna be a lower scoring game than everyone thinks.
I also
it's
think
just not gonna be a victory for the Bucks. I don't think.
I think Steven Jackson will be player of the game. I think he'll come up huge.
Steven Jackson.
It's his time.
Okay.
All right, so we're both going Falcons.
Yeah.
So that's a Thursday night game. I'm not that excited about that game.
No, because it's not a lock.
Yeah, not that excited about that game. All right, what are the early games looking like?
We're gonna start. I feel like this is my favorite matchup so far that we get to pick.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good
San Diego Chargers going into Buffalo, the Northeast.
Yeah.
And this is another one of those early games where a West Coast team goes to the East Coast.
Yeah.
And Arizona, kind of slapped me in the face when I said that. But I think the Bills win.
Wow.
I think the Bills are for real.
With all of that saying the Broncos should be worried.
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
Like you said, they get up for the games. This isn't a game they're going to have to get up for.
All right, I'll take the Chargers, even though I love the Bills, just so I can come in next week and say, why did you not pick the Chargers?
And I'll be like, I don't know. I was being devil's advocate.
Yeah, I like the Chargers. I think they could win this game.
Next game on the docket, Cowboys 1-1 go into St. Louis, also 1-1. Who do you got?
Please, I'm not the Ram. That was the Rams' one victory. Of the
I got
year.
the Cowboys too.
Please.
I got the Cowboys. Had the Cowboys lost last week, they would have been a harder decision for me to pick them, but it's easy. It's the Cowboys. No. That offense is going to decimate the Rams.
Marco Murray.
An intriguing game here.
It's not intriguing.
Redskins.
It's not intriguing.
It's only not intriguing because they're going to Philadelphia.
I just hate both.
The Redskins at 1-1 go on the road to Philadelphia, who is 2-0. And the Philadelphia Eagles look to put together 2 halves of football this time instead of just 2 weeks of, a third week in a row of just a second half.
Deshaun Jackson needs to be healthy for this game because I just want to see Deshaun Jackson get booed in Philadelphia. That's my dream. It's literally one of my dreams I've had. I don't think he's going to be healthy, and I think that's a problem, and I think Philly will somehow be a really shitty 3-0.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Redskins give them a game, but in the end, Philadelphia squeaks it out as they have the first 2 weeks, and they go to 3-0, and as you say, a shitty 3-0.
A shitty 3-0.
The Houston Texans.
We're not talking about this game.
Goes into the Meadowlands and take on.
The Texans are already 3-0.
The proper way to say this: the New York Football Giants.
Yes, not the New York Football
Giants. I know. Texans 2-0, Giants 0-2. Giants playing at home. Almost. They were almost 1-1. They were one bad half of a quarter away.
You're not taking the Giants, are you?
From winning their first game.
You're not going to
do it, are you picking first?
Are you fucking kidding me? This could be a 30-point blowout.
You're picking Texans, I see.
Oh, my God. We have no one who could even take a picture of Andre Johnson, let alone cover him. Arian Foster's going to run through everyone.
I think that the Giants pick their...
Hold on.
I think the Giants defense say, I'm going to pick my poison, and they stop Arian Foster enough where they force Ryan Fitzpatrick to beat them.
Giants.
And he doesn't, and I think that they win this week.
You're picking the Giants?
I am picking the Giants.
Oh, my God.
I am picking the Giants to win their first game in Week 3. I think the Texans, this is the bump in the road in the month. They always have one. I think this is it. On the road, feeling good about themselves.
I'm torn between wanting to come in next week and laughing at you for that pick, but then it'll mean I'm laughing at the Giants, so whatever.
Anyway, a game that could be more intriguing than it should. The Minnesota Vikings go into New Orleans and face the Saints. Having said that, I picked the Saints because, like the Falcons, they are a different animal at home.
the Vikings can't go into New Orleans and beat that team.
If the Vikings were if the Vikings were playing at home, they might have a chance. But in New Orleans, no chance.
If Adrian Peterson was running the football, I'd consider it, but he's not.
Fair enough.
So the Saints.
Saints. Now, granted, this is how we talk about the Saints, kind of against the Browns too. So if we come back in and go, we're not geniuses. What do you want? Next up.
But I did pick the Bears to beat the Niners, so.
And I did pick the Chargers to beat the Seahawks, so
we both have something going for us.
Exactly.
There is a reason we do this.
Yeah, right? And it's not the fact that they let us,
Who lets us?
So, Titans, 1-1 Titans, they go into Cincinnati, 2-0 Bengals.
I love this game.
I'm going to start.
Go ahead. I love it.
I think the Bengals overlook the Titans. Titans come in, punch them in the mouth, and win a defensive game.
I love this game.
I picked Titans.
I love this game because it's going to tell us so much about what Tennessee is.
As well as the Bengals.
It's going to tell us a lot about what Cincinnati is.
This is going to be a what are you game.
And I made the case for Tennessee. I said earlier in this podcast that, we still don't know who they are. It was a weird loss to the Cowboys. But week 1, I said Tennessee's going to have a good year. Things are going to look pretty good for them.
But
Bengals are winning this one.
I've known this guy for so long that the way he started, I was like, there's a but coming at the end of this.
I think the Titans are going to show us a lot about who they are. But I think Cincinnati's going to show us, stop overlooking us. We're at home. We're against an inferior opponent. We're winning this football game. I think the Bengals are going to take it. So you're taking Titans?
I'm picking Titans.
All right. We're disagreeing a lot.
Ravens, 1-1, go into the dog pound.
I hate this game.
And they face the Browns, also 1-1. You pick first.
You can't talk me into this Cleveland Browns winning 2 games in a row. You can't.
And yet,
you can't talk me into
And yet, I see your face, and you're like, I can't believe I have to pick the Ravens, even though I don't believe in them.
You can't talk me into this.
I picked the Browns. Dog pound.
Nah. Baltimore.
At home.
You can't talk me into 2 wins in a row for
Hoyer feeling good.
Nah. I'm going Ravens.
No Ben Tate. Jordan Cameron against an aging linebacking core.
I think Torrey Smith finally just says, fuck it, I'm going to go for my 140-yard 2-touchdown game.
All right.
Ravens.
All right.
I hate that game. I'm going to try very hard not to watch that game.
It's a lot of morning games.
That's what I'm saying. The NFL keeps fucking up.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 morning games. Man, what am I going to put off TV? Oh, I know I'm going to put off TV. Packers and Lions.
I forgot this existed.
Packers are 1-1. They are going on the road to the fast track of Detroit. And the Lions get to play a home game against a defense in the Packers that aren't as good as they would like to be.
No, neither are the Lions' defense.
Exactly.
I love this game.
I see a high-scoring game, just like NFL fans would like to see.
Yeah.
And the NFL would like to see.
Is this the Thanksgiving matchup? Are they playing again on Thanksgiving? Because I love when these 2 teams play on Thanksgiving.
I don't think they're playing again on Thanksgiving. I don't think that they would do that.
I wish they would.
I'm sure the Lions are playing home against maybe
somebody.
Thanksgiving Lions. They are playing Chicago. Ooh.
Oh, okay. All right.
This could be a good one.
So then they're at home game. I will go first in this matchup. We didn't talk that much about Detroit because we wanted to talk Carolina, but something that really sincerely worries me about the Detroit Lions, they're favoring Joique Bell over Reggie Bush.
I saw that.
They're using Joique Bell a lot more than Reggie Bush, and for the Lions offense to be this dynamic weapon that it could be, that everyone thought it was going to be, Reggie Bush needs to be Reggie Bush.
Because why would you sign Reggie Bush to the deal you did if you're not going to utilize him like Darren Sproles?
I don't think they're going to use him against Packers. I think they're going to continue going Joique Bell, and I think that's an issue. Calvin Johnson's the best receiver in football. We've said that, and they're not even close. He's one of the best receivers we've ever seen play the football game.
I feel like this is another butt coming at the end here.
No, I think Aaron Rodgers and Jordy Nelson remembered what they had, remembered how beautiful their relationship was, and I think they continue doing Rodgers to Jordy things. I think Eddie Lacy is a huge game against the Lions. I think he's going to look at Ndamukong Suh and just say, fuck you. I'm running right past. You're not going to stop me. I think this is a Packers statement game. I think that's what it's going to turn out to be. I think it's going to be a little high scoring, but I think the Packers are going to win by 10, 14 points. I think this is the Packers statement week. Because I think week 1, a lot of people were down on Green Bay. I think they make a statement this week. I think I'm taking the Packers by a hefty margin. And I see what you're doing. I'm about to write it down. I see what you're doing.
I want to go by your logic and say that I agree that, yes, this is a potential statement game for
It's okay
Aaron
to
Rodgers
agree with
and the
me.
Packers.
It's okay to
But
agree
see,
with
here's
me,
the
but still
thing.
pick the Lions.
What I was going to say was, while I agree with your offensive theory of the Packers, it will be a statement game. Jordan Nelson and Aaron Rodgers will show the league that yes, this is not a 1 week thing.
No, we're
It's
a
gonna,
real
you have to
thing.
worry about it first, or it's a season.
Yeah.
But on the other side of the ball, I think Matthew Stafford is going to be like, you're not the Carolina defense. You're not keeping Calvin Johnson under 85 yards and 0 touchdowns. I'm going to throw in the ball to Megatron early and often, and when you double team him, there's a Golden Tate. And I do think that this week they're going to be like, you know what? Why have we not been using Reggie Bush the way we should?
So I'm writing it down.
And I think they win. And I think, just like you said, this is going to be a statement game for the Lions saying, hey,
all right,
we can't forget who we are.
All right. I like it. I like that we're disagreeing there.
Colts 0-2. The best probably 0-2 team I feel like in the AFC maybe. Yeah, whatever.
Most talented.
Most talented. There you go. Most talented. Going on the road to Jacksonville, who's also 0-2.
Colts win.
Yeah,
Colts win.
I
They're
mean,
tired of losing.
I don't see a scenario in which the Jaguars win. The only one that's even popping in my mind that they could win is 13-10. But even then, that's more like a Colts Andrew Luck kind of game.
Yeah.
So even in a scenario where I could see them winning, I can't see them winning. So
Andrew Luck is embarrassed that they're 0-2, and he will not let them lose to the Jaguars. And he's that good. He's good enough to say, I'm not going to let us lose.
The last morning game, Oakland goes into New England. I pick New England.
Oh, you're off the Raiders bandwagon?
No. I just can't see a scenario where Brady allows them to beat the Patriots.
You saw a scenario where the Raiders would beat the crap out of the Texans, and
Yes, I did.
That didn't happen.
But I was wrong.
The Raiders are bad.
They're not as bad as you want to make everyone believe, though.
I agree with that, but they're still bad. They're not good enough to be good. They're the Raiders. It's a bad franchise.
They're doing good things. They're
sure.
They're a couple of draft picks away in the post-Al Davis
they're
era
not.
being competitive.
They're not a couple draft picks away because they've proven in the past they don't give a shit about draft picks. They will ruin their draft picks.
That was true because Al Davis, all he wanted was corners that could be fast
and Robert Gallery and Darius Hayward-Bay over Michael Crabtree.
Still Al Davis.
I know. They're I
just want to see 5 years without Al Davis to confirm
bad.
that they're never going to be good again.
The Raiders are bad. What's the next game?
The afternoon games.
Oh.
We have 4 of them.
God. Packers-Lions isn't even the best game of the week.
I'm going to go to these 2 games, last 2.
Yeah,
I'm just going to start here.
Save them.
I'm going to start with one game that probably is the worst game of the 4. The Chiefs 0-2 going into Miami, who is 1-1. Now, here's the thing. I say worst of the 4 because the other 3 games I'm about to mention are better in high-profile aspects of it.
I'm not watching that Chiefs-Dolphins game.
I'm going to have it on somewhere.
I'm not watching it.
I know, you're not. I'm saying, but I'm gonna have to have it on somewhere.
Well, I mean, when I say I'm not going to watch it,
you are going to watch it, just not paying attention to it.
I'm not going to be happy.
I'm done calling you out on those things because obviously you know that I know that that's not true.
You know I'm going to watch it.
But anyway,
who are you going with? That's a tough one.
I picked the Dolphins based on their Week 1, Week 2 performance, where it's off and on. They're at home now.
Yeah.
They're at home now against a team that was in the playoffs last year, and they're under media scrutiny because they lost to the Bills, and they're at home. I see them winning a knockdown, drag-out, boring defensive struggle filled with a lot of field goals and change of possessions, like 19-15 or 14-17. Or
I think Alex Smith and Dwayne Bowe are going to connect for 2 touchdowns. I think the Chiefs win. That's my call. I'm going Chiefs. I think the Chiefs, they figured out that Niall Davis is not Jamal Charles, but they can use them similarly. So I think that's kind of a big deal. And I know Miami's at home, but Sean Moreno.
So you're saying that Kelsey is not going to have 7 receptions for 130 yards again?
Well, they could use him somewhat similarly to that, but I'm going Chiefs.
Okay.
We're done talking about that game. It's going to be a bad game.
Steelers 1-1 on the road in Carolina for the Sunday night game. Panthers.
I'm going home tonight and I'm buying Luke Kuechly jersey.
Well, I mean, they're at home. If they were in Pittsburgh, I would pick Pittsburgh just because I don't think Carolina's ready quite yet for that prime time on the road game yet.
I think Carolina was a huge regression candidate before the season, and I don't think that's true at all.
Oh, no. I mean, I agree on that, but I think that if it was in Pittsburgh, just the home crowd and the defense, the Pittsburgh defense would be fired up just enough to, like, get a win, you know what I mean?
I think the Panthers have a serious claim to say they're as good as the Niners and the Seahawks.
Wow.
I think that's how good the Panthers are. I think we're sleeping on them a little bit.
You think?
Yeah. I think they're really good.
Okay, you know what? I'll say this.
Really good.
Like last week I said, if Seattle beats San Diego on the road, that I would come in and declare everyone's playing for second place, whatever. If Carolina can, at home, put a filthy drubbing on the Steelers like I know that they're capable of, I'll come in here and anoint them, I'll be like, oh, it's not a two-team discussion anymore. I'll come in and say, folks...
Well, I think right now it is a three-team discussion.
Yeah, but I think that discussion's only being discussed by half the people in the room right now. And the other half are quietly going, do I join the discussion or not? I think I'll wait until the Steeler game.
Well, half of the people in this room lived not very far from where the Panthers play their professional football games, so...
Hey, we're a demographic 50-50, Come on.
I like the Panthers. All right.
I like the Panthers, too.
Now let's get to the good ones.
So... Broncos, they are 2-0. They travel to CenturyLink Field, is that still what it's called?
I think so.
In Seattle, up in the Pacific Northwest, to face the defending Super Bowl champions, the 1-1 Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah. I'm going to go first, because it's very short and very sweet. I think the Seahawks do exactly what they did to them in the Super Bowl. I think it's going to be a blowout.
Wow.
I think the Seahawks,
really?
I think the Seahawks are going to blow Denver out. I think it's going to be very similar.
I think the Broncos win more than my hatred of the Seahawks. I think they win because for the Broncos, it's more important of a game than it is for the Seahawks in the sense that the Seahawks lose here, they're not worried about their season, really. Because I think that they're good enough to kind of bounce off this loss and then kind of, go on a winning streak of their own if they need to and make playoffs, if not, contend for the West, win it. But if the Broncos lose, I think a little part of them can't ever say, are we good enough? Is this a Super Bowl team? Because they got shellacked in the Super Bowl by Seahawks. If they get shellacked, like let's say Seahawks pull off a close win, they go back and forth and they pull off a win, that's okay for the Broncos. But if they get shellacked, I think all of a sudden we see a different Bronco team from week 4 on, mentally anyway.
No, I honestly think that they'll get their ass kicked and say, we're not as good as the Seahawks, but we're better than everyone else.
You think?
Yeah.
I think they go into it saying this is our most important game of the regular season, and they try to come and prove a point.
Their most important game of the regular season will be the second time they play the Chargers.
Of course.
That'll be the most important game.
I know that, and you know that.
They're going to prepare for this game, but...
like it was their most important game of the season.
I love the Broncos, and I have zero worries for them, but I think Seattle kicks their ass this week. I think they do it to him again. And I think Richard Sherman talks the entire time, just like, really? You guys thought you were going to come in here and win? Really? Fuck you guys. No.
I think Broncos come in and they win, and I think Peyton Manning kind of goes, well, you might have stopped me in the Super Bowl, but that's Super Bowl.
I also think that you were just saying if the Seahawks lose this, they won't be worried that they'll be able to bounce back. I think if the Seahawks lose and the Arizona Cardinals pull up the upset in the other game, I think they'll worry. I think they'll be worried because they're 2 games back of Arizona then.
All right. Which leads us to the last game of the afternoon that we're talking about here.
Yeah.
The 1:05 kickoff game in Glendale, Arizona.
Yeah.
Was it University of Phoenix Stadium? Is that what they call it?
Yeah, I remember that like it was yesterday. That's where the
Super Bowl
David
was?
Tyree catch
Oh,
happened.
jeez.
Yeah, that place.
Get out of here.
And Michael Strahan was jumping up
So
and down.
the 1-1 San Francisco 49ers
Giants.
head into Glendale, Arizona to face off against the NFC West leading 2-0 Arizona Cardinals.
Ugh, terrible to say that.
That sounds weird, right?
Yeah. Fucking Ted Ginn. God damn it, Giants. Come for a punt.
Hey, how ironic is that? The Niners, they kind of need Ted Ginn probably in their return game. Anyway.
The Niners need a lot.
They do. The Niners are favored by 3, apparently by the odds makers. And you know how smart they are. Actually, that's pretty smart. I realized, I'm like, wait a minute, Vegas is pretty smart.
Not that much against them.
So, basically, what the line means is that the home field advantage doesn't matter, and it's basically pick 'em.
Basically. So pick 'em.
You go first.
Niners.
Really?
I don't think the Cardinals are good enough to beat the Niners.
I agree, but I think the Niners have to come back to win this game. I think the Cardinals...
So you're still picking the Niners?
Yes, I'm still picking the Niners.
I don't know. I'm not that high on the
Here's
Cardinals.
the thing.
I've watched every minute of both of their games.
I will say that the Niners pound them if... No, hold on. Let me finish.
They're not gonna pound them.
If, and this is a huge if, the big if that fills the room, if Greg Roman feeds the combination of Carlos Hyde and Frank Gore anywhere from 30 to 40 times in the game.
You know what the Cardinals are good at? Run defense.
That's fine.
The Niners are not going to blow them out. There's no possible way.
So you think it's like more of a 20 to 14, 17, 14 kind of game?
Yeah.
I tend to agree.
I still think the Niners win because I don't trust the Cardinals enough to win this game.
As far as you can throw them, as they say?
Yeah. So I'm taking Niners.
I pick Niners.
I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that pick. I don't know why, but I'm cool with that pick. Monday night, this is my game right here. These are my two teams right here.
I feel like this is gonna be a boring Monday night game.
These are my two teams that you don't believe in yet, and
I'm closer to believing in the NFC version of your team than the AFC version of your team. Anyway,
you know what I mean? Like I was really high on the Bears last week, and I was really high on the Jets, and you had the similar reaction, like still got to see more. Here you go. Watch Monday Night Football.
You know,
You're gonna learn shit. Shit's gonna happen.
All right. You know what I think I'm gonna learn?
What?
I think I'm gonna learn that the Jets aren't that good. That's what I think I'm gonna learn. Anyway,
Where's the game?
The 1-1 Bears go into the Meadowlands to face the New York Jets.
Where's the Meadowlands?
That's in New York.
It's in New Jersey.
Sorry, it's in New Jersey.
I hate that we call them the New York Giants, the New York Jets, and they play in New Jersey. I hate it. The Giants are my team, and
would you love it better if they called them the New Jersey Giants?
No, I'd like for them to play in fucking Manhattan.
Oh, I see. My bad. I was looking at something different than what you were say. Okay.
But I know there was proper logic of you, but it just pisses me off. They play in the fucking middle of Jersey, and
you know what's good in Jersey? Getting out of Jersey.
There's a couple good things in Jersey, but most of it is shit.
I know.
Love you, Mom.
I wanna agree with you on that, but after knowing that Jersey Shore exists, I feel like I can't.
I've seen the nice parts of Jersey. I've also seen the shitty parts of Jersey, but I've seen the nice parts.
Okay. Anyway, Bears 1-1, Jets 1-1. They're playing in New York. It's Monday Night Football. The Jets are favored inexplicably by 2.5.
There is an explanation. Their defense is really good.
Whatever.
Inexplicably.
They're 3 at 2.5.
I'm assuming you're taking the Bears.
I'm taking the Bears. I'm taking the Bears in a way where it literally they're going to embarrass the Jets at home. Like, it's not going to even be close.
I think that
Matt Forte is going to run all over that defense, no matter what you say about that defense.
Well, you know how much I love Matt Forte and the Bears offense. I think the Niners defense really, really fucked up last week the way they played the second half of not taking away Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffrey. They were hurt. They were clearly hurt. And I think the Jets watched that Niner game and said, "Oh, we can do that. We can play these guys." I think they're going to live with giving Forte a lot of what he wants. I think they're going to take away Marshall. I think they're going to take away Jeffrey. They're going to have some problems with Bennett because it's tough to cover all three of those guys. I'm taking the Jets to win this game. And you know how much I love the Bears.
I know.
I picked the Bears to beat the Niners defense in their home opener. No one fucking else picked the Bears to win that game.
1 quarter away from having a nice home opener.
And I picked the Bears because I thought the Bears...
Not even one, half a quarter away. Jeez.
I'm taking the Jets. And you know what? I'm taking the Jets because I think they can win this game. And second, I'm taking the Jets just because I know it pisses you off.
You know what? If you want to be wrong, it doesn't piss me off.
We have a lot of disagreements this week.
Yeah, there's going to be a clear-cut winner next week when we come in.
Yeah.
And
I'm up by 3.
And a clear... Oh, I'm saying week to week.
Okay.
Right now, week to week. And then at the end of the year, we'll
I know what you're saying. For this week, one of us is going to win big, the other one's going to lose a lot. So, come on. The Jets are beating the Bears. It's going to happen.
No.
No.
I think literally on Monday Night Football, all of America sees what the real Geno Smith is, and that's running around being harassed by the defense and not making good decisions.
You know what? I'll add this. I think at some point in Monday Night Football, Mike Vick gets a turn.
Okay, I'll agree with that. Probably.
I think we see a little.
Probably.
Mike Vick. I think we see a little Mike Vick against.
And I think it's because Lance Briggs is gonna.
Yeah.
Between the numbers right here and just
double nickel.
Boom.
Lance Briggs, Pride of Elk Grove, opening a restaurant. I think it might
By the
have
way, Chris Collinsworth, why are you an idiot?
He's not an idiot.
He said on national TV that Lance Briggs' restaurant opening in that was opening in Elk Grove is going to be in L.A.
What an idiot.
Yeah. He said I think he said something about the native California is opening up in L.A. You're an idiot. He's from the Sacramento area. It's in Elk Grove.
The restaurant is
It's nowhere near L.A.
The restaurant's literally 3 minutes from my house. It's called Double Nickel. There's a huge picture of Lance Briggs. Coach's Bar and Grill, and now it's Lance
everybody
Briggs.
Makes fun of that guy for being the new Madden kind of thing.
I love Chris Collinsworth.
But I mean, I have somewhat of
his son went to Notre Dame.
I didn't like I said, I didn't have this feverish hatred of him like I do for let's say the combo of Joe Buck and Troy Aikman or something.
No. Here's the correct answer. Joe Buck and fucking anyone he's talking to.
Tim McCarver. Oh man, those guys. Anyway, that's baseball. Anyway, but stop. Do some research. I mean, someone's fired basically. I know an intern's fired somewhere.
Fired, yeah.
But anyway, you picked the Jets. I picked the Bears.
What's our tiebreaker there?
Oh.
Matt Forte rushes for over or under or exactly equal to 110 yards. Rushes. Or no, we'll do all-purpose yards. Matt Forte has over under 150 all-purpose yards. I go under.
I pick over.
Okay.
If you're saying all-purpose yards, I feel like he's going to get that by the first half, maybe the third quarter.
Nope, not going to happen. You're underestimating this Jets defense. And also, the Jets defense is pissed about last week. If you saw Sheldon Richardson walking out the field,
I'd be pissed too.
Copels,
you know what? I would have been pissed after week 1 beating the Raiders. I would have been pissed.
You know who's really good about firing up a pissed-off, talented defense?
A not very good coach in...
Rex Ryan. Rex Ryan's very good at that. He's not good at a lot of things. He's very good at that.
By the way, I don't know what understatements would be described as in our show because we do a lot of overstating.
Yeah,
but
we do.
That's an understatement of the year, my friend.
It is. It's going to be an
Rex Ryan does a lot of bad things. Understatement.
All right, that's football.
That is football. Sean's got about 25 minutes till he has to run away.
I only have one thing to talk about, and it's real quick.
What?
Kyrie Irving is the best basketball player on the face of the planet because he proved it at the FIBA Basketball World Cup. He won MVP, and in the championship game, no one could fucking guard him, and he was lights out, on fire. He hit 6 of 6 from the three-point line. He was crossing people over. He was going to the rack. He was throwing passes everywhere. Kyrie Irving is the best player on the face of the earth, which means LeBron James is the second best Cleveland Cavalier, and Kevin Love is the third best Cavalier. We're going to see Kyrie Irving take basketball to another level. We're going to see Uncle Drew Part 5, and he's not even going to be playing with anyone. It's just going to be him dressed up in Uncle Drew makeup. He's going to be standing on a court by himself. There's not going to be any people. There's just going to be one camera. He's going to take a Pepsi. He's just going to go, I'm the best player in the world. Recognize. And then it's just going to be a link to him holding up the NBA Finals trophy and the NBA Finals MVP trophy, the Bill Russell Award. And it's just going to be him. It's going to be a picture of him holding both of those awards up. And get ready for the Kyrie Irving era to start. It started last year with the All-Star Game MVP. It's continued now through the offseason because LeBron chose Kyrie over Dwayne Wade. And I don't care what argument you want to make. That's the choice he made. He became the best player in the world when he won MVP of the FIBA Basketball World Cup. And now he's going to be the starting point guard on an NBA Finals champion in the Cleveland Cavaliers, and Kyrie Irving is the best basketball player. He might even be the best basketball player to ever walk the face of the earth. I'm not sure yet. I want to give him another year for that, but I think we're about to see the dawning of a new era, and it's going to be the Kyrie Irving era.
Wow, I'm really excited. I feel like that was the most explosive 2 to 3 minutes I've heard out of your mouth in a while.
Because it's Kyrie.
Nash, almost kind of like a final thoughts of our podcast there.
Nash is leaving, and Kyrie's just going to jump on up there and take that mantle and then just go straight up. Take it even higher.
Last thing I got to say is Giant fans? Neener, neener, neener. We beat you this last weekend.
Oh.
But not only did we beat you this last weekend, we proved the point. The
What
Dodgers
point?
proved the point. That,
Clayton
yes.
Kershaw's really good.
Well, no, they did that. But any record that needs to be broken at the Giants' home field, be it Pac Bell Park, be it Comcast, whatever you want to call it, be it AT&T, be it even Candlestick, the Dodgers make it. We closed out Candlestick with a sweep.
Yep.
We opened up Pac Bell with a sweep.
Yeah.
Most runs ever scored in home game for the Giants or by their opponents, 17 runs.
17.
Most hits ever at Pac Bell or at AT&T, 25. Biggest margin of victory in the Park's history.
But hey, that middle relief, man.
Now here's the thing.
You gotta worry about that middle relief.
Now hold on, here's the thing.
You're fucking crazy if you still don't think the Dodgers are gonna win.
Here's the thing. After that first game where the Giants won 9-0.
9-0, yeah.
I actually wasn't that upset.
I know you were.
Because they had Madison Bumgarner throwing. It's their version of Kershaw.
Bummy.
And he basically dominated the Dodgers. They got home runs from Brandon Crawford and Ishikawa.
Travis Ishikawa. For some reason, he's still on the Giants.
They combined for 5 of their 9 RBI that day.
So you're not
which is why I wasn't worried that it was a score of 9-0 because their main guys didn't do it.
I hear you.
And I was like, I wonder how they're going to bounce back. And boy, did they ever, because the next 2 games, they outscored them 21-2, basically. Mm-hmm. And 17 of that coming in game 2. So...
Because I have a question for you at the end.
I will say this. I believe in the things that I can't say because there's still a 3-game series with the Giants, and I always believe in the personal jinxing here.
Say it.
But deep down inside, I actually agree with everything that Sean says. I just can't say it on air or on the podcast till next week. I can't say it till next week.
All right. But I know you believe it.
I believe it.
I know you believe it.
I'm more on the side of yes, I believe it than I don't these days.
The Dodgers are really good.
But that does not mean that their middle relief does bother me. That the injuries might bother me.
Stop it.
The fact that they're winning on talent and not chemistry does bother me a little bit. But that's just...
You're one of the most frustrated Dodger fans I've ever known. My question to you is this, and this is a really good way to end.
Yeah.
Who's better, Clayton Kershaw or Sandy Koufax? Because it is a legitimate question right now. And Kershaw's 25.
Yeah.
Who's better? Because
right?
I've never seen anyone like Kershaw, and I don't think I ever will. He's unbelievable. The numbers he puts up, and just by the fact you watch him, you're like, oh my god, this guy's the best. Who's better?
I'll say this. Right now, I still have to say Sandy Koufax because his body of work is more, and he has more of the accolades and the numbers.
I didn't ask about the accolades because I know the answer to that is Koufax.
But
who's better?
Just talent-wise? Oh, talent-wise, Kershaw's better because he's built.
That's all I
want to know. In that ace way. Sandy Koufax.
He's not built in the ace way. He's built in a completely different
form.
Enough.
And he's left-handed.
He's like the Monstars compared to the NBA All-Star team. He is the ace, but like so much better.
Oh, Michael. Oh, Michael.
And if Justin Verlander can win MVP the year he won it, then Clayton Kershaw needs to win MVP, he needs to win Cy Young, he needs to win a Silver Slugger, he needs to win whatever other award you want to make up, because this is one of the greatest. He's one of the greatest pitchers of all time, and he's proving it this year.
But I mean, as a Dodger fan, I have to answer it in, as a career-wise, Sandy Koufax is still better. But
and I know that.
But when Kershaw's career is done, he has a chance to be better than Sandy Koufax in the history books.
I don't even think it's a chance. I think it's lock it down right now.
I know, but
I think he might be one of the 5 greatest pitchers we've ever seen. That's how good Clayton Kershaw is. A 1.7 ERA.
I agree.
Are you fucking in this era?
I know.
A 1.7 ERA.
And what's dirty is when he was
fucking kidding me?
When he was 16-3 a week or 2 ago.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with one of my friends. I was like, "Hey, do you think he can win 20 games?" And he's like, "There's only like 4 more starts left." And I was like, "Oh,
what's 16 plus 4?"
Well, in my mind, I was like, "Oh, okay, he might go 3-1 or whatever it is and be like 19-4." But literally 3 games later, two complete games, 1 an 8-inning game.
Yeah.
He is 19-3 now with like 2 starts to go.
And a
Maybe even
1.7 ERA.
Maybe even 3 to go. It wouldn't surprise me anymore if he ended the season on a 6-game winning streak, went 22-3, lowered his ERA even more close to that 1.00, which is insane, and had the WHIP going almost near that 0.6, 0.59 range.
We've said this before on the podcast. A sub-3 ERA is really good. A sub-2 ERA
is legendary.
That's historic.
He has a sub-1, right?
Sub-1 what?
No, it's sub-2?
Sub-2.
Okay.
1.7 ERA.
Jeez.
You know who else has a sub-2 ERA right now? Chris Sale.
Oh, wow.
He's like a 1.93.
Well, I think that's why they're saying that if anyone besides Felix Hernandez wins the Cy Young in the American League, it's definitely Chris Sale. It's a 2-man race right now. It's whether you're rewarding stats or the record. In Kershaw's case, you're rewarding both.
Yeah.
In the American League, you have one.
But remember, we had this conversation a few weeks ago. Do you take away from Kershaw being hurt and give it to Wainwright because Wainwright's been so good? And I think Kershaw completely wiped out that argument by being so fucking good.
Yeah, no, because
Wainwright's amazing.
When we were having that argument,
yeah,
it was about a month and a half ago.
Yeah, it was.
And Kershaw was
it
was like 13-3 or something like that. Wainwright was right there at 12 and something, and there was an argument there.
Yep.
And 6 weeks later, we wake up and there's no more argument there because.
And that's nothing against Adam Wainwright.
No, exactly. He hasn't done nothing wrong.
It's also nothing against Johnny Cueto, who I picked to win Cy Young for the year. He is having a Cy Young year. But there's no one, and I said, you remember I said this on the preview, it was one of the things I've been the most wrong about when I've ever talked about sports. I said, Clayton Kershaw showed us what a perfect pitching year was last year. There's no way he can have a better year.
And we both agreed. We both said he's gonna regress. That doesn't mean he's gonna be bad.
But he's still gonna be better.
But he can't be great Kershaw. He's gonna be really, really good Kershaw. We were wrong.
He's having a better year than last year.
I want to say this right now, Clayton Kershaw. I am sorry that I'll
never say anything like that.
The word doubt isn't even a real word, but I'm sorry I thought you couldn't do better.
Yep.
What were we thinking?
I'm sorry, Kershaw.
Yeah.
You have proven to me that I will never see another pitcher like you.
And he's left-handed.
Yep.
He's
25. What?
Which means the era of his dominance started at 23.
Yeah, and it's not going to end for a while.
Until 28.
Him and Kyrie should become friends. Yeah, I went there.
All right, folks. I think with that, we're going to wrap up this week's edition of In the Basement with Sean and the Heckler.
It was fun.
In fact, it is kind of historic in a way. This is our 25th episode, so we are a quarter of the way there to 100 episodes.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. Don't worry, we'll get there.
Yep.
And I think we might even be playing outside of California right now. I'm not even sure if we are.
Hey-o.
Or we might be, I don't know. But if you want to catch us other places besides In the Base with Sean the Heckler, once again, Sean works with the Sacramento Republic FC.
Playoff game on Saturday.
I saw in the paper.
Yes.
Playoffs, so go see that.
And if we win, Orlando, the number 1 seed, lost like a bunch of idiots in week 1. If we win this game, we host the championship.
Ooh, so if you haven't seen an FC game, go out and see it. Perfect time.
Yep.
If you can't see them there, him and Greg Wong will be calling our home football games at Aggie Stadium, most of them.
Hopefully.
I'll call some of them
DK's
probably.
calling a couple of them too.
If you want to hear me more than the podcast, I'm on YouTube, In the Ring with the Heckler on YouTube. Also, if you don't know what YouTube is for some reason, I'm also at whatdoyouwatch.com. And I have links to my YouTube page as well as the archives of KDVS for the Aggie Talk shows. You can also hear us on Tuesday, Aggie Talk, 90.3 FM KDVS, 7 to 8. Soon to be 7 to 9.
Soon.
So look out for that.
Very soon.
But other than that,
check
Sean,
out the podcast on YouTube.
That's right. The podcast is also on YouTube.
I'm going to post it.
In the Ring In the Basement with Sean the Heckler.
But your other one?
And my other one is In the Ring with the Heckler. So I guess you get confused there.
It's all good.
But like I said,
all over the place.
I'm heckling all over the place.
There you go.
So thanks again for joining us this week. We'll see you next Wednesday. Same bat time, same bat channel. I guess we should say same basement time, same basement channel now.
I like either one.
Either one's fine.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next week with our recap of what we picked this week, next week's picks, and maybe a little fantasy insider for you for football. I think for the football season, we'll probably be doing heavy on football and then ending with some baseball at the end there. Mm-hmm. So once again, we'll see you next time here in the basement. Thanks for listening.
Noises.
All right,
so that was really good on time. that was like because we went through every game of the last week and then went through every game of this week, and we dragged on the previous week because we had a lot to say about the Niners and everything like that.
Yeah.
And I put 2 hours in the thing. We got started a little late, and I still have 15 minutes.
Nice.
So I think from now on, I'm going to do the metered parking. We don't have to worry about really the time limit because we do this quickly enough anyway.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more baseball next week, but I think 2 hours is not bad. Do you want some water?
Oh, yeah.
Down it. I'm done with it anyway.
I just haven't eaten today, and I had that weird, like...
Yeah. Well, go eat. Do you have to work tonight?
No, it's my day off.
Good. All right, do you want to hit the stop button on there? We'll
oh, yeah.
finish up.